This morning, my smoothie consisted of quite a few different weeds. And instead of going through all of them each time, I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to focus in today on catnip. Catnip is a weed, Nepeta cataria, and as you can see, it is definitely a weed here in my garden bed. That's all that is still standing here are all the catnips, and that's because I'm going to harvest them before I weeded everything else, and now I'm going to harvest this and then double dig these beds. But catnip is gray-green in the foliage, and they're heart-shaped leaves, and they are opposite. So you'll see leaves here, and then right opposite are more leaves coming out on the other side of the stem. They're on a very, almost woody, very square stem. And of course, you've got the really soft, velvety feel and the smell, which is distinctive. Now, catnip is something that we know about for cats, but the reason that I included it in my smoothie this morning is not because I'm a cat. It is because it is very calming. So my whole smoothie was set up to be, I was sending it off to work with my husband, and I wanted him to have a calm, low stress, anxiety day. He was going to have a lot of busy meetings, and so I focused on those sorts of things. Catnip is actually a nutritional powerhouse, and you want to use it sparingly in your smoothie or your salad. Your salad is a little bit more in your face, and then you have the texture. I like it in a smoothie, and then I like to offset it with a little bit of mint, which is what I did this morning. I had spearmint. But catnip it is a very high source of calcium, iron, manganese, potassium, and selenium. Those of you who are working on thyroid issues should perk up. It is also a good source of cobalt, magnesium, phosphorus, riboflavin, vitamin A, and vitamin C. While it excites your cat, it relaxes you. So this is a good thing for sleep, or calming your stomach, or calming your mind. It's great for menstrual cramps, any kind of inner turmoil. I have it in my Swallowed Emotions blend because it's really good for helping you let go of things that you can't say, that you aren't getting out very well. One of the other weeds that I put in is kind of gone by now, and so I'm going to show it to you. This mess right here, all of these weird, long, sprawly things are chickweed, and this is, let's see. So you're not going to be able to see this as well as we should be able to. Chickweed is identifiable from, it's got a mohawk of hair on one side. They are not going to show as well because these are old. This morning, this is getting a little more woody, so it's harder. Yeah, I can't even pull it apart and show you the inside. There are some pieces here. There is still a good piece. It's just getting ready to bud out. Here, you can see that it is going to seed. So we don't want to put that in our smoothie. We want to put that in our smoothie. And chickweed is really delicious for, it's really delicious, but it's really good for helping us process fats, and it's good for our kidneys. I said I wasn't going to focus on things very much, but there I went. I can't help it. Chickweed is, in this stage, if you get a hold of the really woody stuff, it's not going to be delicious in your salad. But this newer one that's still in here, and if you can find some, you're going to find this in the shade. This is a weed that crawls. So this has been going all along my garden, like in my paths in between my raised beds. As you can see, I have a lot of work to do. I'm going bed by bed and getting these all pulled out. I have a permanent bed of irises, which I love, that needs to be weeded because the grasses just come back all the time. But I am weeding this out now, and as I'm weeding it, I'm pulling the food, the functional food that I can out of here and using it in the house. This is going to be useful, and if you find chickweed in this stage or short, creeping along the ground, nice and juicy, you're going to look for it in the shade. You're going to look for it somewhere that's moist and cool. And you can see here, just by my finger there, you can see that hairline. You can see the furriness. And when it is still good to eat, you can see that it's got one line of hair down that stem and everything else is sort of naked. It's shiny. Really tastes a lot like fresh peas or corn on the cob. This is one of my favorite spring weeds to eat, and you'll see me use it again and again in recipes. The other weed that I featured was dandelion, which a lot of you know, but I'm going to show you anyway because I don't want to assume. There are always very much beginners on every video, and it's okay to be a beginner. If you don't know dandelion, it's okay. We'll just learn it. Here's our dandelion, and you can see it doesn't have any colors up in it. It's a thin, soft leaf. There are no spikes or spines, and in contrast, I'm gonna look over here. This is not dandelion. You see the spikes going down that midrib. It looks kind of like it, but that's not dandelion. This is dandelion. So we really want to get it small like this right now. We're already getting some 80-degree days here in Ohio, and the bigger leaves, the longer it grows, the more bitter it's going to get. And so my smoothie was a little bitter this morning, and I just altered that with a little bit of lemon. Bitter can always be countered with citrus. My favorite is lemon. So if you find that your weeds get too overpowering in something and you get it too bitter, the weeds still have bitter in them, and that's very, very good for our digestion. We do not want to avoid the bitter, but it can be too much for some palates, and there's no reason to suffer just because it's good for us. So balance it with a little bit of lemon. The other weeds that I had in my smoothie this morning were mulberry. That's actually very much a weed. In fact, it's considered an invasive weed. And I've got mulberries all over the property. Right now, the goats are managing them for me, and they're getting ready to turn, and I'm gonna focus on them more as we go through the year because I do a lot. I do sodas with mulberries. I've got teas with mulberries in them. And here they are, just starting to think about ripening. And I can use these leaves in teas, and I can use them in smoothies. And when those fruits ripen, they're going to be glorious, and those will go into smoothies as well. But it's a weed, and it's a weed with a lot of nutrition. So I'll talk more about that. I hope you're having fun putting weeds into all of your food, and I will catch up with you again tomorrow.